Alright, what's up everybody? This is going to be a jam-packed video. I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible with this video. There's been so much that is going on. This entire year is a very karmic 2024 number 8 universal year. And that's the number 8. That's what goes around, comes around. That is Saturn energy, and Saturn is the traditional ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius. And the modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. So you could say that the number 8 energies are a bit more on the Capricorn side. And so a lot of the keywords for this year are right here. Anything to do with reality checks and what's on the ground. And so it's not surprising then to find that when you look at the full moon that recently happened, it was in a situation. Here's the moon right here, and you can see it's the tip of a grand cross. Now, a grand cross is basically Mars-Saturn energy. So it is very, very tight energy, and you could do a lot with it. But you know, Saturn is the tone of the year, and what happened? This comes after the universal month 8, which was a universal month 8 in a universal year 8. So that's a lot of 8, and pretty much a lot of the things that had to do with that month, a lot of them related to the number 8, as you can see here. The Israel Hezbollah conflict drastically changed by the pager attack that happened September 17th, for example. And where is that? Hold on a second. Pager. Right there. So that was also, it's notable that this was a Tuesday and a Wednesday, but it was started on a Tuesday, and that is connected to Mars every single Tuesday. So that's something to keep in mind. But that was that weird ass pager attack coincided with the lunar eclipse in Pisces. Hold on, let me bring this back to where we are now. And Pisces lunar eclipse, where is that? Oh, this is 2023, for fuck's sake. Okay. Partial lunar eclipse in Pisces, September 17th at the 25th degree. That's an Aries degree. Okay, so the Aries Libra nodal axis has been giving us lessons about either when we're being too much assertive or aggressive, and when we're not, when we need to do more of that and put ourselves first more. And this particular eclipse, you'll note the decan. Hold on, let me have it the way I like it usually. Boom. All right. So you'll note the tip of this kite pattern here. It looks like a kite, right? It's in the 25th degree. That's where the lunar eclipse happened. Or yeah, that particular one, or that full moon was a lunar eclipse. So that's like a full moon on steroids. So that's an intense culmination point in the area of Pisces energy. But look, I don't want to spend too much time on this. What I'm trying to tell you is the connections between this and the geopolitics and the war stuff. So for example, as far as the Aries energy, Netanyahu is life path 9. As you can see here, right there. And so that is reflected by the fact that his natal chart has a lot of Libra energy and a lot of Aries energy. There's the high concentration of Libra energy, and his Aries energy is kind of supercharged in a possibly negative way by that wild Lilith there, that mean Lilith. And so that can bring out the worst of whatever sign it's in. And you know, there's a lot more I want to say about this, but in the interest of time, I'll leave it at that. The point is, a lot of the stuff that's going on now has to do with that energy, and even Putin, his natal chart, also has a lot of Libra energy, as you can see here, concentrated there. His Neptune, Saturn, Sun, and Mercury all in Libra. So he doesn't have as much on the Aries side there, but that's I don't know. I haven't checked his chart too thoroughly to see the Aries degrees. Like his Sun is at the 13th degree. That's an Aries degree. So you know. Anyway, let's move on. So the point is, a lot of the stuff that's happening now ends up relating to the number 29. So, for example, and by the way, the word war in the Chaldean numerology is 9, and we'll come back to that. But a lot of the things that what was I saying? Hold on. Let me just hit this. Okay, let me just make sure you can even see the cipher there. If I have this, it's not too much. Okay, for some of these it might block some of that. Like this one's got 2 rows, so that'll block that. So let me go over here. This is alright, I'll leave that there for now. I really should have cleaned that fucking bowl or that bubbler before I smoked that. Wait for this, but that's okay. Alright, let's fucking move on. So make that a little smaller. Okay, so I was saying there is a lot of Libra energy and Aries energy that we've been schooled with for the last years, ever since the nodal axis shift kicked into Aries Libra. Remember, Aries is assertive, aggressive, conflict, war, and Libra's diplomacy and harmony, tranquility. And so there's very little of that right now. And like I said, looking at the eclipses, you can see a pattern. Like if you go, the Hamas attack happened October 7th. And October 14th, there was an annular solar eclipse in Libra, right? And 21st degree, that is a Sagittarius degree. Each of the degrees are like a zodiac sign, so the first 12 degrees are like the first 12 signs, so that means the 13th degree is like the first sign again, 14th degree is the second sign again, so on and so forth, making the 21st degree Sagittarius degree. So why is that relevant? Because Sagittarius is about far away lands. Let me get that Sag up there. Sagittarius is about foreign cultures and religion, and there's a heavy religious component to a lot of this stuff. And of course, the number 8 this being a universal year 8, um, that Saturn energy is connected to the monotheistic religions. So it's not a surprise that you see that be a focus. Even with all the stuff like 9 is connected to Pluto and Mars. Mars rules a fire sign. Here is uh, there it is. Here is a massive fire that engulfed the historic Notre Dame church in this was posted October 4th. Okay, so whoops. So that was Trois-Rivières, and who knows how many of these churches are burning. I know there's definitely a lot that burned in Europe over the past many years. You know, so but there's been so much stuff that I hope to have time to talk about in terms of various fires that have gone on. There is even weird stories like man who covered wife in gas, set fire to her hair, found guilty of murder by Ontario court. This was done back in a number 6 years. 6 is connected to family. And this verdict supposedly was October 18th, and 18 is connected to family problems, according to Chaldean numerology. And so it's really interesting to look at the number 18 with respect to everything that's been going on. There's been a... Hold on, why isn't it not letting me expand this? Hold on. Usually there'd be a thing up here I could double click. It's not doing that this time. What if I maximize and then it's back now? Okay. So usually with this, there's been some really interesting things that are connected to the number 18 and 22 degrees. Here you can see the data on that from astroniki.com, and some people connected to the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bomb, the Chernobyl explosion, 9/11 terrorist attacks, etc., and Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami of 2004. So that tsunami reminds you of the danger from the elements such as storms, danger from water, fires, and explosions. Just like war in general is explosions, but to have a pager go off in a grocery store, that's the different kind of story. And to have that be a lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, which is about illusions, and it being in a particular area that's a Pluto decan, which is Pluto is connected to subversiveness. All of this stuff heavily lines up with everything that's going on. So and of course here you see from this definition of the number 18, bitter quarrels, even family ones, and war, social upheavals, revolutions, treachery, deception by others, so on and so forth. So is that the reason, like regardless of how you want to look at Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, is that the reason that and by the way, here, I'll just do Milton. So what? Oops. Milton. Okay, so Milton is 29, right? And you in the cipher based on the number 7, the septenary cipher, you get an 18 there, and in the Chaldean you get a 6. But that 18, it's interesting that that's brought from the septenary cipher, because 7's connected to Neptune, which rules Pisces, and Neptune's been at the 29th degree of Pisces up until early September, when suddenly it went to the 28th degree, and so on. And then at the exact same, while it did that transition, Pluto, the planet of power and control issues and transformation, got into the 29th degree of Capricorn one last time before it's gonna blast off into 20 years of mad scientist, humanitarian oriented, innovative, revolutionary Aquarius. So yeah, everything to do with what's going on. The word pager equals 29. Heavy focus on Russia, that's 29. Elon Musk in the news a lot these days, that's 29. JD Vance, 29. All the focus on animals that was a few weeks ago more closer to Virgo season. Virgo's connected to animals. That number also equals 29. People that are treating the Palestinians like animals. Right? Hamas attack equals 29. And check it out. Basically, fucking McAfee, go fuck yourself. So, you know, the latest today is, well, today it was, this, I'll get to more of that maybe, but the thing that happened recently was this: Israel kills Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar in Gaza. The article for this was October 17th. The Wikipedia says October 16th is when he died. I don't know if it still says that. I don't. Either way is close enough to the full moon in Aries that just happened, right? And I said that we've been schooled enough with the Aries Libra energies. Now that's kind of, look, you got to understand the stuff I've said many times before is that 2025 is a universal year 9, and then 2026 is a universal year 1. Okay, so that is that next year is going to be an intense culmination, and 9 being connected to Mars and Pluto. Pluto is intense. And so what you have to know is, due to the fact that this number 9 year has a connection to Mars and Pluto, well, that means it's not surprising that 2 long-term planets, namely Saturn and Neptune, will join a Mars-ruled sign of Aries that year, right? And Neptune spends a long-ass time in a sign, and Saturn spends approximately 2 years, much less than Neptune. Saturn spends approximately 2 years in a sign. Also, what appears to highlight this connection more, excuse me, bear with me, guys. It is what it is. see if I can remember what I was trying to say here. I'll grab my angel egg, grab my moonstone. Maybe also grab this. I even forget which one this is, but it's blue, and that's the throat chakra. And we got some lapis lazuli here. All right, let me see if I can get back on track here. Look, the number 9 is connected to Mars, which is war and conflict and passion, and being assertive or aggressive. Shoot first, ask questions later. Energy. It's also connected to Pluto. Okay, so the shoot first, ask questions later energy is the Aries, and the Pluto is more that subversiveness and the behind the scenes stuff and the destruction aspect, the complete transformation component of the situation. And Pluto is more about the long term. And so first of all, it's interesting that these two planets are going to be opposite to each other around the time of the U.S. elections. Second of all, it's interesting that Mars is going retrograde around the end of 2024 and also happening in the first couple months or so of 2023. 2025. I'll say it again. The transition from the number 8 year of 2024 to the number 9 year of 2025 not only is all the schooling that the Aries Libra nodal axis shift gave you and being assertive or aggressive versus spelling shit out for everybody well in place, and kind of we're done with that axis around January 2025. Not only is that happening, but two long-term planets, Saturn and Neptune. Saturn's karma and reality checks and hardship, and Neptune is compassion and altruism and art, but also intuition too, but also illusion and delusion and escapism. Those two long-term ass planets are entering Aries. Impulsive ass, never finishing what you start, Aries, in that year. Warlike Aries in that year. And what you gotta know is, as I said, Netanyahu's a life path 9. He's got a North Node Aries. He's got a Lilith close to that. That's not the best news. If you look at the previous universal month 9, it was January 2024. That ended up having South Africa present its case against Israel at that time to the International Court of Justice, and that happened to be the same time as the new moon in Capricorn. And remember, Capricorn is connected to 2024's energy because it's a Saturn year. It's the number 8 universal year connected to Saturn, which is the traditional ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius. But like I said, the more so Capricorn, and the fucking Capricorn equals 52 in the full reduction cipher, just like I pointed out thousands of times. The word government equals 52. So that's why there's a heavy focus on governments this year. So that means even the last month in the, I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit, so bear with me. This whole month of Universal Month 8 was all about boundaries and borders and karmic stuff happening. You had the September 17th partial lunar eclipse that month. Even the word lunar has the same gematria as the word moon and Saturn. So they're all karmic. Number 8's karmic, eclipses are karmic, and so at the crescendo point of that full moon on steroids, September 17th, lunar eclipse in Pisces at a Aries degree, if I remember correctly, that was when that happened. And then that was when the pager attack happened, the Israel attacking Lebanon with pager explosions in grocery stores. Then on the way to, like, you know, so usually if there wasn't eclipse season, that would mean this is getting calmer as you go down, as the moon gets less and less full. But in this case, it was leading to a solar eclipse on October 2nd. By the time you got to October 2nd, that was when we had already gone. That was when the Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah was killed in Beirut, and other high ups were killed, and I put out a video about that September 28th, and then you know, you could say the this month here, where was it? Hold on. Yeah, Iran launches more than 180 ballistic missiles at Israel. There's that number 18 again. I heard of other figures of 200 or whatever, but whatever. So this month, Universal Month 9, by the way, and I'm not gonna forget talking about what I wanted to say about the previous Universal Month 9s, but this particular one started off on a Tuesday. Right? Like I said, Tuesday is connected to Mars, which is war, and this is as we're approaching a Universal Year 9. So, and by the way, like, so due to the numerology of the universal month numbers, like this was an 8, then you got November was a 9, and we're talking about 2023 here, and then December 2023 was a 1, and then since the year changed, then that makes it go to 9 again. And then, since there's no 10, 10 is 1 plus 0, which is 1, that restarts the cycle, and this time without a year change soon after. So then it continues to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in other words, we had like this hiccup of like double 9 at that point. And now there's kind of a resonance with that now. And again, okay, I might as well just fucking say what the other shit here I was going to say, which is, like I said, this year started off, by default it starts off Capricorn season, and then the new moon in Capricorn coincided with South Africa presenting its case against Israel at the ICJ. And I said that already, but that was new moon in Capricorn, Capricorn resonating with 2024. And then you look at this, South Africa recalls diplomats from Israel. They were one of the first to do that. And that was in November 2023, the month that came after the Hamas attack. Remember I said, like, there was a solar eclipse and lunar eclipse around that time too. And it's hold on, let me see how much time I'm into this. I'm 28 minutes. Okay. Okay, I don't have the energy to say everything I want to say, but let me just here, because there's just too much stuff happening. It's too much, and I know my Mercury in Sagittarius, my Uranus in Sagittarius when I was born. Sag is the opposite of Jupiter, and Jupiter is retrograde recently, and it has been for a while in Gemini, which is the opposite of Sag. So as deep as I want to go, I gotta make it shorter for both my sake and the audience, you guys, and that's painful to do. But looking at Jupiter, even like the recent, I know this presentation's all over the place, I don't give a fuck. So, excuse me. So looking at the recent full moon that happened, which was so close to the time of Yahya Sinwar being killed, and that was a Jupiter decan, and so Jupiter. Oh, let me show it to you like this. So here's Jupiter is retrograde recently, so it's in reanalyzing mode. It's been in adapting Gemini for a while. We've gotten enough hope from Gemini-like people and situations. That's why around the time that this Jupiter went retrograde, a Gemini named Pierre Poilievre, who might be the next Prime Minister of Canada, suggesting bombing Iran's nuclear sites. And of course, Iran equals 9. Like I said, 9 is Mars and Pluto, that's war, and the word war equals 9. So why would you want to? Iran has been patient enough with the West. Russia has been patient enough with the West. That's clear. Jupiter is about it rules Sagittarius, which is connected to faraway lands and religion. So isn't it interesting that around the time of this full moon, this culmination point, one of the only normal ass moons that's not an eclipse or whatever in a while, when it happens in the sign of Aries, which is energy we've all been schooled with enough, it ends up having a sextile with Jupiter, the planet of hope and optimism and good luck and expansion, at a degree which is a Sagittarius degree, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Sag is the opposite of Gemini, like I said. And here also this people getting life force energy from being somewhat diplomatic. That's Libra. That's also trining that, so that's making it a wedge. There's so much more I want to say about this. You got like an envelope. You got the Grand Cross. You got the wedge. You got the kite. No time to talk about this, but you can see the tip of it is that 29. And what happened around that time, right? Again, Pluto is death and rebirth and transformation and obsessions and psychological issues, and Capricorn is basically government. It's basically limits and rules and reality checks. And what's interesting is this guy Yahya Sinwar is said to be the architect of the Hamas attack. Well, you know, he was born on the 29th. So again, all this stuff, you know, syncing up with that, and even his name. You know, Chaldean numerology goes by the name you're most commonly known by, instead of saying this long ass name. So Yahya Sinwar, 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. There's more war stuff right there. Even in the full reduction, you got the 54. 5 plus 4 is 9. Literally everything that's been going on recently has to do with this number. When someone burned himself alive for Palestine, that word immolate equals 29. That was Aaron Bushnell. And you know, you got even that school shooting in the U.S. The guy who did that, his numerical value of his name is 29. Even like that was in Georgia. The word Georgia has the same numerical value as border. There's too much here. I can't. I gotta rewind a bit. What I'm trying to show you is okay. With the stuff that's more relevant to the geopolitics, maybe okay. Elon Musk is 29. I already may have mentioned that. But also, yeah, Russia, Trump, the word wisdom and mastery, the word zombie and sheeple, the word France, the word father, the word mother. Like this 2 plus 9 is 11, which is 1 plus 1, which is 2, which is the moon, which is the mother. So even with respect to the abortion issue, here's a mix of both issues, right? Army veteran, that's Aries. Army veteran criminally convicted for standing still silently praying in England. This is supposedly this is the kind of laws they got now here near the abortion clinics, and it's just heartbreaking to see this. You know, anything that I touch upon here in this brain database, you can also access if you go to my website potentnews.com and click the brain button. That'll bring you to a more crude version of all this stuff here, and I try to refresh it and update it as much as possible. But anyway, like standing silently praying is a no-no, but you got like these A Clockwork Orange type vibes with dozens of people actively looting and breaking the cargo train, like this kind of shit. Now keep in mind, Pluto getting ready to go into Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of the rebel and the bully. And while it's good for the good of the group and revolutions, sometimes it could be, you know, just chaos. If Aquarius don't get their way, they bring chaos. So There's that, you know, Clockwork Orange vibes, October 11th. Remember, I said this October is a number 9 universal month. 9 is connected to Mars and Pluto, so that's the connection there. Anyway, did I finish up saying everything I wanted to say about this shit here with these two nines? Right, like over here, this was a particularly bloody month. Right, this is by this time it was clear to the world that Israel is just bombing universities and hospitals, and there's nothing that they will not bomb, even UN schools in Gaza, etc. And even Israeli ministers saying let's nuke Gaza. You know, so by that time it was clear what's going on. That this was going to be a long conflict, and then, like I said, that was the month that South Africa recalled its diplomats from Israel. That seemed to foreshadow that they were at the forefront of presenting their case to Israel at the ICJ. And this was also a month when the farmers around this time in Europe were also having uprisings and stuff like that. That's also the Aquarian revolutionary energy. So, but anyway, like fast forward to, I don't know how I forget exactly when the farmers stuff started. I feel like that was more the January, but anyway, so you get the picture. The 9 is incredibly humanitarian, but sometimes that's resulting from seeing the destruction, which is sad that it has to get to that point. So anyway, what you have now with this. So let me see if I mentioned everything also about the 2025 thing. You get the 2 long-term planets moving into Aries. You got the 18-month cycle, 19-month duration of Aries Libra nodal axis shift coming to a close on around January 2025. And you got Mars being retrograde around this time of this transition also. And that other planet that's in the same category as Mars, because Pluto rules a sign that is traditionally ruled by Mars, which is Scorpio. Pluto, you can see here, this is Pluto's retrograde now, and around the time that Jupiter went retrograde, when Trump and Gemini whatever said that they would think it's a good idea to bomb Iran's nuclear sites. Around the time that the people got less hope Jupiter from Gemini-like people or situations, the power and control issues, Pluto was back on track a little bit, and things are gradually more and more clear now with who has the power and what's the stuff. For example, like the what do you call it? Where is the thing I want to show right now? Like, okay, so I said that the killing Israel killing Yahya Sinwar in Gaza. By the way, he was very much seen as a martyr, and like if you look at the actual video of his final moments, or what was said to be his video, he's like throwing a stick right at the drone. So that's pretty interesting if that is actually him. Here is that video. Let me take it. But hold on, before I show that, I just gotta say that with this being so close to the full moon in Aries and that being at a Pisces degree, and Pisces being the sign of the martyr, that's very interesting that is the case. And also, the third decan of Aries is gonna be also pointing to Jupiter. So not only do you have that sextile, with Jupiter at a Sagittarius degree, but uh, uh, the third decan of Aries is related to Jupiter, and I don't have time to go into why. But anyway, so there is like the annoying part of this chart is that the Grand Cross, meaning a lot of people are trying to start new ways of doing things in all different formats and all different realms, and there's a lot of compromise having to happen when they're trying to do that. But something like this wedge makes it easier. Something like this trine, which is part of this kite pattern, makes it easier. And it's interesting also, the kite pattern itself said to be analogous to Jupiter Sagittarius energy. So there is some hope. Even though, ICC wants to arrest Netanyahu for a long ass time now, Netanyahu and supposedly some Hamas leaders. I don't know if those were the same leaders that got, I don't know if that was Yahya Sinwar was on that list or whatever, but ICC has not arrested Netanyahu, and he just keeps going to do his thing. And of course, that wild Lilith is around the time of this full moon is at Libra, and I believe me and Lilith spends around 9 months in a sign. So for a while now, people have been kind of having their diplomacy energies kind of tainted. But ideally, with the North Node, South Node, it's a dance back and forth between the assertive or aggressive Aries energies versus the balancing things out Libra energies. So, and that's why this Jupiter is so interesting here. And yeah, the word Hamas attack equaling 29. The guy who is said to be one of the people who orchestrated it, also born on the 29. And okay, hold on. Here was the video I was going to show actually. Here's that guy. And let's watch him throw a stick at the drone. Don't know if there's audio. And there's the throw.
And what I'm hearing is that we
that is intense. People see that and it's intense. Pluto is intense, and it's insane that yet again this is the guy born on the 29th. Like I said, everything that's been going on heavily relates to that number. Here is, as I showed many times before, the 4-month period of Neptune being at the 29th degree. The moon's redacted because it moves too fast for me to be able to annotate it the way I annotate the other degrees, but with the critical degrees, avatar degrees, and anaretic degrees. But you can see here, Neptune gets into the last degree. Neptune's been at Pisces since 2011. So Pisces is the last zodiac sign, and also the word last equals 29 in reverse full reduction, just like the word the end equals 29 in full reduction. So that's very much what's going on is people are coming to conclusions about their illusions. That rhymed. Alright, so I'm not going to start freestyle. No, fuck this. Alright, I'm going to take a hit here. So yeah, all this stuff that's going on relates to 29. France has recently been taking a semi-harder stance against Israel. France was also previously in focus due to them hosting the Olympics. That whole thing having a lot of the transgender agenda in it. Somebody basically showing his testicles in the opening ceremony of the Olympics. And all the weird stuff with like biological males, you know, fighting females in that, and all the controversy that was surrounding all that. That you could say that's very much related to this all or nothing energy of the 29, and this boundary lacking energy of Neptune. And look, you're gonna have other times where there's a long stretch of 29 degree shit, but the thing that bothers me is that when you get some relief from this Neptune 29 degree shit in early September, that's, like I said, right when Pluto picks up that slack and starts to be intense in its own way. And that's Pluto going to extremes in order to do tradition or salvage what it can to face reality checks and what's on the ground, etc. And one of the ways that happens, if you talk about how nine's connected to war, one of the ways is what I mentioned earlier, which is the army veteran who was criminally convicted for standing still, silently praying in England, you know, like I said, Mars, Aries, fire energy may be also related to the church burning in the Trois Rivières. There's other stuff relating to the fire energy that I'm not going to have time to go into right now, but the point is there's other things that are happening that remind us of this army veteran criminally convicted for standing still, silently praying in England, and that is Italy passes law banning surrogacy abroad. That activists say targets LGBTQ couples. And Meloni called the surrogacy an inhuman practice that treated children as a supermarket products, echoing positions expressed by the Catholic Church. This is in this number 9 month of transformation, but also it reminds us of two things that happened in the previous month, that number 8 month. Remember, 8 is Saturn and rules and limits and tradition, and you had here China bans foreigners from adopting as children. That was, I mentioned that before, and then that was sort of echoed a little bit by Georgia Parliament signs law banning same-sex marriage, gender reassignment surgery, pride events, and LGBTQ flag displays. And a lot of this stuff is Tuesdays. And here you have Georgian Dream Party. Dream, like Pisces. And it's said here, activists say the measure is aimed at boosting conservative support for the government ahead of a parliamentary election on October 26 in Georgia, a country that has ambitions to join the EU, but which Western governments fear is now tilting back towards Russia. And like I said, the word Russia equals 29. In septenary, the word France equals 29. The word dream world is the same numerical value as Neptune, and Neptune rules Pisces, and so we're talking about sleep time, hibernation, astral travels. All of these are 38 in the Chaldean cipher, and 38 is in the same category, moon numbers. 38 is a moon number like 29 and 47. So it's not surprising to see all this stuff. No matter which way you want to slice it, no matter if you want to notice the moon component, and the moon is heavily related to Islam, or if you want to say all the monotheistic religions are related to Saturn energy, and the moon has the same gematria as the word moon has the same gematria as the word Saturn and lunar, or whether you want to look at the fact that the 18th tarot card is the moon, and it's connected to Pisces energy, and it does have animals here. We're talking about, how the Palestinians are treated like animals. Like, enough is enough. It's like a freaking year of genocide. Is that the kind of world that you want to see unfold before you? And we're all supposed to just sit here and act helpless like we can't do shit. I mean, J.D. Vance was at the heart of this controversy in the U.S. surrounding animals. He has a, fair bit of Virgo energy, Mercury energy. I'm not going to go look, but I do remember he had a fair bit of that. Okay, fuck it. Let's look. let's look really quickly. J.D. Vance. I want to get more into the recent stuff, but like just. So Mercury, which rules Virgo, is actually in Virgo for him, and it's at the 7th degree, which is a Libra degree. So wanting to be balanced, which is Libra, about Virgo stuff, which is related to animals. So you could say 6th house is also animals, and he's got his Jupiter there. He's got a lot of energy there. He's got his even the vertex at a 18th degree, which is a Virgo degree. So okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But the point is, Palestinians are treated like animals. When there was controversy surrounding Haitian migrants supposedly maybe eating cats and geese, J.D. Vance was talking about that, and here that seems to be reflected by not only the degree, but the sign and the planet that he's got going on here, plus the fact that is a T-square. So that's pretty tight, pretty annoying ass spot. Not even a T-square, a freaking almost like a wonky ass Grand Cross there. So I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. Let's get the fuck back to what the fuck we're talking about. Okay, there's too much to cover. I might have to cut this video short. Yeah, let me just take a hit of weed here. I gotta reload this. Maybe I'll find some sort of clip. So alright, which clip should be shown? Let me see here. What would be the best clip right now? What would be the best clip to show at this time? Let's see here. Well, nah, by now a lot of people have seen the Iran launching all the ballistic missiles. But again, to put it into context, that's largely on the heels of the Patriot attack, and then Israel killing Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, etc. But yeah, this whole look, you're gonna have what I said before. there's other, like, even though next year 2025 has two long-term planets entering a new sign, and that by default entails a lot of 29-degree stuff, even that one is not a 6.5 month period of non-stop 29. That's my point. So I do think that 6.5 month period that we're kind of coming to an end with now is the reason why so many if things that have to do with that number pop up in so many ways. Like even the word Syria equals 29. The word Trump equals 29. Ryan Ruth, who is one of the assassination attempts supposedly on Trump, 29. And again, it has to do with the fact that 29th degree is like the last degree of a zodiac sign. So when you go to the next degree, that's you're going from one element to another, from one world to another. So, you know, that maybe I don't want people to hear Scott Ritter's name and be like, okay, well, Scott Ritter is the same as Colin Gray and Ryan Ruth. No, the overarching archetype is that the number the word 29 has the same numerical value as the word 47, and Scott Ritter happens to be when he happened to have his home raided by the FBI. That was the 7th day of a universal month 7. Okay, and so it's very interesting seeing how these things play out, and even the word Hezbollah ends up matching the word Neptune, right? So a lot of focus on this Neptune energy. We already had that concentrated in 2023. That was a Neptune Pisces oriented year. I put out a long video showing a lot of examples of boundary lacking situations that year. Isn't it interesting that water contamination in East Palestine, Ohio was something that was very much on people's radar early on in that year? And isn't it interesting that the word Palestine is right in there, and that later on Ohio became in 2024, just in that month ago or whatever, a big focal point for issues about boundaries and borders, and that number 8 being about borders, and this kind of stuff was also happening in Canada. Just go search through the September section of the Brain database to find that right here. But even in terms of where was it here? Where is the thing I'm trying to show? It's not letting me use the wheel mouse. Okay, I'll just drag it. And of course, Pandemic Prevention and Preparedness Act being something that was scheduled to be discussed by the Canadian Senate, and the Canadian Senate was in session on the 17th, the same day as the pager attack, basically, that lunar eclipse in Pisces, and he got 29 right in the bill name. And then it turns out they called it Vegan Act. Also, some people called it Vegan Act. And so that, Pisces, the opposite of Pisces is Virgo. And like I said, Virgo season, a lot of focus on animals being connected to Virgo, and so across the board, you see in multiple areas numbers and the archetypes of the planets reflecting exactly what's going on the ground. So, but what was I going to show here? There was something. Let me just have a look at this real briefly. you know, interesting too. DD Geopolitics is back on YouTube. That's a good news. And they were removed during that Universal Month 8 and Universal Year 8. So that tells you quite how much that Capricorn Saturn rules oriented energy was in place. But yeah, this is what I want to say. It's about borders. The thing I was looking for was related to what was it? Hold on a sec. Yeah, it might have been this. ICJ. Was that in? That was back. Yeah, that was back in July, but there was a similar thing here. UN vote for Israel to end Palestinian occupation. That was in September, in the limit-oriented month. And that's UNGA resolution backed by 124 countries makes it clear that occupation cannot be allowed to continue any longer. UNGA overwhelmingly adopted a resolution calling for an end to the Israeli occupation and Palestinian territories within a year, and the imposition of sanctions for non-compliance. You know, when you're watching Israel do a genocide for a year, and then you see something like this, like, take your time, do it in a year. I don't know, but you know, that's why I said earlier the word Israel has the same numerical value as the word rogue. They'll do what they want to do. And interestingly, even the word Canada seems to have a value of 15 in Chaldean and in full reduction. And that's the most popular numerologies. The Chaldean is more ancient, and the Pythagorean, aka full reduction, is newer, but is 15 in both for the word Canada. Maybe that's why Canada is so aligned with Israel. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, let me move on to the other shit we got going on. There's so much stuff going on, and I'm kind of getting tired now. There's okay. Let me put this number 9 back up. All right. So. Okay, so let's see. What should I show next? I might as well, you know. I mentioned earlier that the numerology makes like a sort of hiccup happen where you have two of the same energy back to back a lot. So probably in November, probably in January 2024, number 9 is about completion. Probably people were trying to complete stuff, and probably a lot of the themes they were dealing with in November 2023 were relating to the same stuff that was blocking that completion or helping that completion. And you know, so then because it's interesting that, like, okay, I'm not going to say stuff I said in previous videos. This will be too long, so fuck it. But the main idea is what was the point I was trying to make? Oh, let me drink this. So the main thing I'm trying to get across here about the 9s is we got high dose of it a lot back to back. And then, you know, that was the first dose was around the time of the previous, not like the eclipses happen every 6 months together. The lunar and solar eclipses, they happen together every 6 months. So, October, as I said, October 7th, the Hamas attack happened before, really close to before, like around a week before the lunar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, whatever it was there, if it was partial or whatever, I can't remember. But and so that kind of fanned the flames a bit, right? Because lunar and solar eclipses bring fated events, and so then that, like I said, people saw how bloody the situation had got by November 2023. Then, since we entered 2024, the next universal month 9 in January 2024, that saw more of the global kind of reaction to this, like I said, ICJ thing with Israel and South Africa on behalf of Palestine. Or what was it here? The South Africa presents this case against Israel at the ICJ. So, and like I said, the number 8, Capricorn, Saturn energy, that's basically governments, and anything to do with the UN is kind of global government de facto, even if you didn't vote for them and whatever. It's kind of what people are paying attention to, so, you know, it's worth talking about, even if it is, like, for the most part, like a bullshit game and whatever, you know, okay, I'm gonna leave it at that for that part, but the point is, we had the eclipses around this time, or this hiccup here numerologically, and those were in the Aries Libra stuff. Well, I mean, those actual eclipses were, one of them was, okay, let's go back to 2023, and you can see October 14th, annular solar eclipse Libra, because the Aries Libra nodal axis shift was in place. And then you had the partial lunar eclipse in Taurus, but because of that, Aries Libra nodal axis is so heavily tied to the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse. Then when you get to 2024, lo and behold, April 8th is what the solar eclipse in Aries is. The number 8 resonating with 2024, because that's a universal year 8, because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 is 8. And also that coming after the March 25th lunar eclipse in Libra. So, and at the 5th degree, it's a Leo degree. Leo energies are heavy. A lot of things to do with Leo energies coming out in a variety of ways. I even had to make a whole section just to keep track of it. Here's the number 23, and you know, the 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 is connected to Mercury, but the 23rd degree is an Aquarius degree. Aquarius is the opposite of Leo. Leo is the lion. The Chaldean numerology definition of 23 includes the royal star of the lion. And all this stuff has been happening on that date, or if not that date, close to this date, and involving that number, like Israel strike kills 23 Syrians in Lebanese town, September 25th. Has Israel hacked Lebanon's telecom networks? That was September 23rd. And anti-Zionist Orthodox Jews are brutally beaten by Zionist forces for steadfastly refusing to serve in the genocidal Israel army. That was posted September 23rd. You also had Syrian President Bashar al-Assad orders facilitation for Lebanese citizens amid Zionist aggression. Same day, September 23rd. September 23rd, U.S. is sending more troops to Middle East as violence rises between Israel and Hezbollah. And that was the same day that this incident occurred, this Russian fighter jet maneuver, which I will show you now. This took a lot of attention. This occurred on the 23rd. Let's show you that. Just so you know, even though it was not in the number 9 month, it was in the number 8 month. But that was a number 8 month and a number 8 year, so highly karmic. And you know, even that Hamas attack back in October 2023 was a number 8 month. So it's almost like that, the tone of that month kind of foreshadowed the tone of 2024, which was the number 8 year. So then maybe you'd expect the tone of this month to kind of foreshadow how transformative and unfortunately warlike 2025 might be. Okay, so I was going to show this. I was going to show you the that Russian maneuver and fucking hell, where is that? There we go. Look at this. You might have to see it 2 or 3 times. Make it big so you can see. That was on the way to the number 9 universal month. And alright, so that was on the way to the number 9 universal month, which happened to be this time around in October 2024. But you know, like I said, keep in mind this number 18, which is related to a lot of the stuff that happened, like the Chernobyl incident and the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombs. That is that's something to just keep in the back of your mind as you notice things like what I've been showing. You know, when that I mentioned in previous videos that on the way to the Hamas attack, I started to see weird ass advertisements for weird ass artwork like this lamp shaped like a mushroom cloud in a city. Like, who would buy this, right? Who would have something like this on their desk to bring light, right? But that just shows you, and I have no affiliation with this. I just fucking put that there to document it. Just like the fact that there was, people have attention on this guy. I never heard of this guy until this recent story of him supposedly falling off a third-story balcony. This Liam Payne, One Direction star, but supposedly in front of that building there was this weird-ass statue of 3 people that were upside down, and they were all on their heads. So the head is related to Aries energy, and of course that number 9 is connected to Mars Pluto, and I think P. Diddy is a Pluto. I think he is a Scorpio. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember. My attention so much more on the Middle East stuff that I can't keep track of all the fucking other shit. But the guy who made this video was saying that, maybe there was some foul play in Liam Payne's death due to the fact that Liam Payne said some shit about P. Diddy back in 2017. So I don't know. I don't have any comments on that. I don't have, but the interesting part that pops out to me is just the focus on the head. Just like these weird ass stories, like I mentioned earlier, that a man covered his wife in gas, set fire to her hair, and found guilty of murder by Ontario court. And again, this was in 2022. The verdict was now, and here you have that 18 right on the day of the verdict. That being, I think I mentioned that earlier, that is connected to family problems. But the point is, hair and other stuff like nails and stuff is connected to well, I'm not sure, I can't remember about the nails, but for sure hair is connected to Capricorn energy, and Pluto, which is connected to 9, is in Capricorn now one last time before it blasts off into 20 years of a mad scientist Aquarius and group-oriented Aquarius. That's a large reason why people will not put up with U.S. hegemony as much as before. There's more about the good of the group, and hey, we can't have a rogue state just going around taking over country after country, making us feel like we're in World War II right now, watching Nazi Germany. Like, that's literally how Israel appears right now in the eyes of the world. And with the fact that today there was a drone strike on Netanyahu's home, one of his homes. He was not there. Supposedly this might not have been his main home or whatever. I don't know, but hold on a second. Like that is interesting news. Like I said, we just passed the full moon in Aries. He's got a lot of Aries energy from his chart. That's from his numerology, and regardless of what happens to him, you can see this is more of like a spiritual thing. Like, it's not, even if he does get arrested by the ICC, which I doubt will happen. What was it? Let me just fucking smoke this. I lost my train of thought. Like, all sorts of Israeli leaders over the past many decades have said all sorts of weird, dehumanizing things about the Palestinians. It's not like it's just this guy. And especially how much you saw Israeli soldiers and the entire culture in Israel being happy about the genocide and dancing and stuff like that. That's that just goes to show you how deep the conflict goes. And I don't know if I mentioned earlier, with all these Clockwork Orange vibes that are going on, you know, with mob rule in Philadelphia a while back. There also, that was September 23rd. I'm not going to show that clip. It's just basically people jumping on police cars and whatever. With the other clip here from October, people looting, breaking into a cargo train in the U.S. Street takeovers terrorize U.S. town as former detective warns of deadly impact. That's fire energy right there. You got like all these fires that are happening. The U.S. wants to be the policeman of the world, but it can't even keep order in its own borders. But then you look at the fact that this is a Clockwork Orange vibes. You look at when the fuck was that film out? Guess what? Universal Year 9. Yeah? That film based on the 1962 book, guess what? That was also Universal Year 9. How do you like that? You know, every single thing. And here we go. Pierre Marcel Poilievre. His name in full reduction, Pythagorean, 126, which is 9. So, you know, it's everywhere you look, it's always not surprising. If you know the numerology and astrology, you're basically surprised by nothing that happens. Like 9 is conflict and war, and is it a coincidence that like one of the most popular firearms is a 9mm handgun? Like, is that a coincidence? Like, there's no shortage of areas you can look to see the archetypes aligning with the actual events. So like I said, even Tuesdays are connected to Mars and war. And so you know, I just showed you that supposedly unsafe maneuver that Russia did September 23rd, but I don't know if that was a Tuesday. But here is just some footage of October 1st. Supposedly videos began circulating Tuesday morning, October 1st, of this. And so that'll show you the extent to which Russia is going to you know, defend their territory, basically. Okay? And it might not look like that. If you see this and you don't know the other clip I'm about to show you that'll give you more context about this situation, then you might say, okay, well, Russia's the aggressor here. You know, but here's the clip. Like, when we're looking at the Russo-Ukrainian war, you know, I wrote an article about Russia, or not Russia, about Ukraine being taken over back in 2014. Okay, I wrote "Coup in Ukraine illustrates U.S. addiction to meddling and regime change." Got published in Global Research, and you know, that article is what I'm reminded of when I see the following clip that I'm about to show you from Brian Berletic, and that is right here.
For Ukraine. This idea that the West is somehow helping Ukraine maintain its independence is also an absolute absurdity. Ukraine's actual government, representative government, however imperfect, was overthrown in 2014. The United States government and its allies overthrew an elected Ukrainian government, and they were caught red-handed picking its replacement. They installed a client regime serving Washington in its place. And from 2014 onward, they have fashioned Ukraine into a battering ram to use against Russia. This is something that has been admitted in the Western media, even if it's buried in various Western articles, and it is mentioned explicitly in US policy papers, including the 2019 Rand Corporation paper extending Russia, which I've gone over and over again. And there's an entire option dedicated to arming Ukraine and provoking Russia to intervene in Ukraine to hopefully overstretch Russia militarily and then precipitate some sort of Soviet-style collapse thereafter. Ukraine does not have any independence. You could argue that Russia invaded Ukraine, but Russia did not invade a sovereign Ukraine. It was already politically captured and in many ways occupied by US interests. The country was deliberately compromised to leave Russia with no choice but to intervene in Ukraine. And that is precisely what has happened. That is the genesis of this conflict, whether these op-eds and articles want to admit it or not. Russia is reacting to US NATO expansion.
Okay, so so that's a large part of the story that people just kind of, forget. And now, nowadays you see the previous month. Remember, I mentioned that month was very focused on borders in Canada and the U.S., but also over here, Latvia says Russian drone that violated airspace came through Belarus. That was September 28th. Is when that article was out. Japan says Russian patrol aircraft violated its airspace. September 23rd. There was a Venus square Pluto. I think that at that time I might have mentioned that earlier. At that time, so Russia's been pretty patient with the West, especially when you got like stuff like Ukraine trying to like go after nuclear power plants and shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, weird stuff. And people in September were shitting their pants over this Russians at War movie screening. They did a protest about it in Toronto. Like what the fuck? Like, why are people so obsessed over shitting their pants about anything to do with Russia? Here is here is also some stuff that may give some context. Global. This article originally published on Global Research. Here you got Peter Koenig, and that was where I took the excerpt that you see in where did I put that? Was that in the Putin? I don't think I put that in the Putin section. No. Okay, let me go back to what I show here. Maybe here, yeah. Okay, so that was a NATO invasion of nuclear Russia is currently underway, and the world is unaware that it is in World War III. Has Putin's patience reached its limits? And you can see right here, this is an article September 14th. It was out, and even by then it was saying these key points here, that at this point President Putin still refuses to declare war, although Russia's territory has been invaded and Russians are killed on their territory by NATO forces, and more direct NATO attacks may be planned. For now, Washington is getting away with murder. Literally, step by step, Washington and its NATO partners have been crossing one red line after another. NATO weapons in Ukraine, NATO troops in Ukraine, F-16 fighter jets in Ukraine, NATO soldiers commanding the sophisticated weaponry supplied by the West, NATO's troops on Russian territories, NATO drones and aircraft attacking Russian targets on Russian territory, and finally NATO troops attempting taking over an entire Russian district, taking Russian prisoners, killing Russians. Airports across Russia have been constantly bombed for several weeks by NATO drones. Like, is that something you hear about in the Western media much? Is that something that a cause for alarm? If the roles were reversed and all this stuff that happened here was happening on the U.S.'s soil, how would they feel about it? Keeping in mind that the Moscow terror attack happened months ago. Where was that? That was Moscow concert hall terror attack kills over 100 people, and Russia blamed it on Ukraine, and the West blamed it on they blamed it on ISIS or some shit like that. So, it seems that Russia's having to endure a lot. I've probably played this in a previous video too. If you got like Russian civilians being attacked with the help of the U.S. Air Force on a beach, like, what the fuck? Like, why does it even need to be? Why does it need to get this far? It's ridiculous what's going on. And here also, there's here EU sanctions Iran over alleged missile transfers to Russia. That was in this Universal Month 9. And I think it may have been, I don't know, I can't remember the details of this, but you got weird stuff like this shit too here. A while back, September 25th, Pentagon has recommended giving white phosphorus shells to Ukraine, but White House keeps saying no. What the fuck? And here you have now North Korea sends troops to fight with Russia. Seoul from BBC. I don't know how, the some people said this is not confirmed, but then like here is they're saying based on intelligence information. Well, that was a different thing, but okay. North Korea has started sending troops to fight with Russia in Ukraine. South Korea's spy agency has said, as Seoul warned of a grave security threat. So you see stuff like that. The spy agency saying 1,500 troops already arrived in Russia. Some here saying that it could be as high as 12,000 there. So there's that, and there's also recently October 7th. New nuclear threats made to U.S. from Kim Jong-un from Newsweek, and I gotta troubleshoot this freaking browser. But anyway, this also is around the time here you have nuclear or North Korea blows up inter-Korean road and rail line near border with the border with South Korea. So that's been happening. There's so much that is unfolding this month. Hopefully things calm down a bit. Like I said, the universe doesn't throw too much at you that you can't handle. So you get some respite here and there, and in terms of this being a number 9 month, well, we already had the culmination of the full moon. There's other stuff on the way, like The Sun square Pluto on October 22nd, 23rd is going to be in our face in a 1-degree orb there. As the Sun is ego, Pluto's power and control issues. So in terms of the war stuff, that could maybe be a little more annoying. Then keep in mind, anything to do with October 2024 is going to be number 9. As Pluto and Mars. So anything happening with Pluto and Mars, I pay more attention to. And so even though there is the Mars square Pluto friction, there's also, or the Sun square Pluto friction, there's also around shortly after that Mars sextile Uranus here, and Mars sextile Uranus is in your face well into October 26th. And you got a nice trine with Neptune kind of easing things on October 28th, 29th. But that's amid a Venus square Saturn, and keep in mind, like, the year's energy of 2024 is very much about Saturn. And all that stuff I showed you earlier about the September 23rd, that was when Venus was squaring Pluto. You can see that here. So anyway, I'm getting a bit tired, so I'm not gonna cover as much as I want to cover. But let me see if what else is worth talking about here in terms of other proof of quite how much this month was a number 9 month. Yeah, like the drone thing today, like Netanyahu had I think I mentioned that already, drone had launched toward his home. They're going to use that as much as they possibly can. What else should I touch upon here? So yeah, the weird stuff happening, right? Remember I said, okay, Poilever is a life path 8. He's a Gemini, so it's no surprise he's more popular this year. It's a number 8 year. Jupiter's in Gemini for a year, and it's been in there for months now. But only around the time that he said this shit is when it went retrograde. It stays retrograde for a while, but looking at, and again, that was the Tuesday that he said that, and looking at one reaction that Maxime Bernier had about that is kind of interesting. I did not, when I saw this, I thought it was AI art. I wasn't sure if this was real or not, but it's probably real, and this pandering is ridiculous. It really reminds me of Justin Trudeau doing similar things in the past, and Trudeau is a Capricorn, if I remember correctly. Do I have that here? And so it's, yeah, Trudeau is a Capricorn, yeah. So, and he is a life path 1, so it just kind of feels like people are going to be at risk for trading one person for another, since Capricorn energy is connected to Saturn, and you have a lot of Saturn energy with Poilever. I'm not going to open up his chart and whatever, but just being a life path 8, he's going to have a shitload of that Saturn energy. And then seeing those pictures that remind you of past pandering that Trudeau did, seeing Poilever come out with these kind of statements, and even October 8th, it was the number 8 right there too, syncing up with that. Hold on, may have, did I lose my train of thought with what I wanted to say about everything about him? I don't know. Yeah, okay, so Maxime Bernier, I don't have much more hope for Maxime Bernier either. When I look at the gematria I covered from him and the PPC earlier. This might be too small to see, but you know, there's the ciphers and there's the connections and there's his statement. So you guys can have a look at that if you want. But and he was also born on the 18th too. So if 18 is heavily connected to war, and you got his similar kind of statements, warlike statements in the past, I don't know, man. What else did I want to say about this whole situation with Kornev? You know, like I said, we're in a number 9 month. If the word Iran has the same numerical value as the number 9, Iran's been pretty patient. They've had to endure a lot. Their president died in a helicopter crash back in May, along with the foreign minister. They are now being sanctioned by the EU over alleged missile transfers to Russia, and at the same time, like Russia, supposedly a let me see this. Hold on. There was also Russian missile. About that. Okay. Russian. Hold on a second. Israel attacking Russian base. Yeah, so that happened. Russian base in Syria, I believe it was. So this is this is what's going on, and in terms of the number 9 month, there was also I think let me look at it this way. Russian, and put child word only. Fucking hell. Okay, I gotta take a piss. I'll come back in a sec. Hold on. All right, so I'm back. Forget where I was talking about before, but let me just try to cover as much as possible and then move on. I'm pretty tired. Like I said, I'm hungry. The sun's going down. I'm gonna try to wrap this up as fast as possible. But there is some interesting stuff. You know, earlier I might have mentioned how there was here Italy passes law banning surrogacy abroad that activists say targets LGBTQ couples. And I said that's relating to the implementation of rules and boundaries that the number 8 Capricorn energy is known for. That happened September via China banning foreigners from adopting as children, and also Georgia Parliament banning these gender reassignment surgeries, etc. And the etc. part, people might say, is a little extreme. And here we are now in a number 9 month that's connected to Pluto and Mars, and Pluto can be about going to extremes. So, but then you have the opposite end of the spectrum, which is largely what this extreme or quote-unquote extreme thing, depending on how you look at it, is, because Germany is basically normalizing pedophilia via the trans issue. So let me show you a really fast clip of that, and then we'll jump back into the other stuff, because this war stuff is on multiple levels. Like I said, it is a spiritual war, and even you know, I mentioned earlier that there was that dude that got arrested for praying somewhat near an abortion clinic, the Army veteran, and the word abortion even equals 29. So that's interesting. And of course, Roe versus Wade, which is related to that. That was something that was a life past 7 actually. So that's interesting. But the word Roe versus Wade in Chaldean gives you a 36/9. Anyway, this is insane that somebody can't pray somewhere. And what else did I want to show here? There was, in relation to that, that was, it was the Italy thing and how it was going to extremes, but then the other extreme is that stuff in Germany. So let's go take a look at their kind of laws and what they're talking about. Let me see if I can open this here. Smooth fashion.
Last year, Anna Slatz with Redux reported that notorious German pedophile lobby group Chroma 13 had endorsed Germany's new gender self-identification law. The group stated that trans kids are politically important for advancing pedophile rights. Chroma 13, or K13, was founded in 1993 by Dieter Gieseking, who has repeatedly been charged and convicted on possession of child pornography. Gieseking has been a vocal advocate of pedophilia and frames adult child sexual activity as normal. He claims there should be a distinction made between sexual consent and sexual violence when it comes to sexual acts between adults and children. Germany's new gender identity law, which is set to take effect November 1st, states that minors from the age of 14 will be able to change their name and legal sex. It allows parents to change the sex marker on their child's documents from birth, and from age 5 years old, it allows for these changes if there is mutual consent between the child and their parents. But the pedophile group suggests that this age of self-determination is still too high. Quote, "Why is gender identity also politically important for pedophiles?" K13 asks. Gender and sexual identity does not only begin on the 14th birthday when the so-called protection age limit ends. Children can and want to experience their childhood sexuality self-determined beforehand. Their post continues, "Child sexuality as a whole must no longer be a taboo. Pedosexual relationships are not conceivable without self-determined child sexuality." Gieseking has repeatedly referred to pedophilia as a romantic relationship and insists that children can actually seduce adults. Quote, "In my experience, there are many times, for example, when a boy of, let's say, 12 actually initiates the relationship," he says. He lobbies to lower the age of consent to 12 years old, adding in a 2014 interview with Taz Online that adult sexual interactions with toddlers would have to be discussed separately. Quote, "Studies have shown the many benefits of sex with children for children," he says. "The problem is that victim protection and child protection organizations have sprung up and influenced mainstream media. Just this past week, on September 25th, Genevieve Gluck with Redux reported that German parliament is set to review amendments submitted by Chroma 13, which would establish pedosexuality as a protected sexual identity. The petition calls for a ban on discrimination against gays, lesbians, and pedophiles in the Constitution. Quote, "Pedophilia must also be included in sexual identity. Pedophiles in particular must be fundamentally protected from discrimination. The human rights of this sexual minority are becoming ever more restricted." The group have marched in pride parades, carrying flags representing minor attracted persons. And in another petition sent to the government, Gieseking called for decriminalization of the possession and distribution of child sexual abuse material. Quote, "The taboo of pedophilia must finally be broken at all levels of society." For more pro-woman, pro-child safeguarding news and commentary, please visit redux.info. They are completely independent, so please consider making a donation or joining their Patreon. And you can also find them on X at ReduxMag.
So how about that? That's the other end of the extreme. Pluto in extremes. Pluto being about extremes. Is this the way you want to make transformations to do the tradition? You want to transform the tradition that much? No, this is fucked up. So you could say people are going on to extremes about stuff like this, but you know you can't really. You can't say much about the gender reassignment surgery. To let a person who's like 12 or 14 basically cut their own dick off and then maybe never have an orgasm again in their life, that's not something that is desirable. Anyway, so that is one thing. Now also, so going back to the killing of let me go back to the Israel killing Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar in Gaza. Like I said, this was really close to a full moon in Aries, which is about war, and in Pisces, which is about the martyr. So very interesting that this guy, who was born on the 29th day of October 1962, ended up getting killed. And I showed you, I may have showed earlier in the presentation, the video of him throwing the stick and whatever at the drone in his final moments. But you know, here's the demonstrations that ended up happening really shortly after. Here is one in Yemen with the crowds chanting, "We are all Yahya," chanting, "We are all Yahya Sinwar." So that was Yemen, and now let's go to the other demonstration in Jordan. Where is that? Jordan. Demonstrations in Amman in solidarity with Yahya Sinwar after the Israeli army announced his death. بايعناك يا سنوار! بايعناك يا سنوار! بايعناك يا سنوار! بايعناك بايعناك يا سنوار! بايعناك يا سنوار! بايعناك فلسطين هي القضية! فلسطين هي القضية! فلسطين هي القضية!
في حال انه استشهد رحمه الله عليه، ادى الواجب تبعه، مهندس عمليه الطوفان الاقصى. الفكره تبعته مش راح تموت، والشباب موجودين على الخطه تبعته. بالنسبه لحماس استشهد قادتها الكبار، من الشيخ احمد ياسين للرتيس الى الجعبري للعطار، يعني كثير من القائد استشهدوا، لكن حماس لا زالت في الميدان موجوده، حماس لا زالت تقاوم.
السنوار بنى منظمه مش في انتهاء او استشهاد تنتهي هذه المنظمه. القاده ولادين، يحيى السنوار ولد 100 قائد زيه.
So there you have that. Let me see, is there anything else that I wanted to point out? Yeah, I mean, it's just like the, rogue state taking over country after country, planting the Israeli flag on Lebanese territory.
Israel is not only invading.
This was 4 days ago, this video released about that. So that's quite bold. Don't expect things to calm down. Yeah, especially when in the West here, people like whatever are like, yeah, they're all for bombing Iranian nuclear sites. Like, these people are insane. Yeah, there is I mean, just the fire components of all this, it's really in your face now. If these people are getting burned alive, and you see right there, I'll just show the clip they showed here. I believe it's around this area, maybe. No. It may have been right. No, it was early on. Yeah, that wasn't the image. Right there. No. Right there. And they're showing somebody who's got like an IV and being burned alive. The hospital patient struck by Israel in Gaza. I mean, this is what's going on, all this fire energy. It's like the universe really wants you to pay attention to that fire energy. I showed you the street takeovers, the church fire, there was this car set on fire at home of owner of Montreal's of Old Montreal building hit by fatal arsons. So that was more fire. And that was pretty recent. October 17th is when this was published. Okay, same day as there's some weird ass distracting screaming out there. I don't know if you guys can hear that over the music, but yeah, so I don't know what this may have. They're saying this was October 4th. The building went up in flames. Anyway, just there's so many things, and all the attention on the Leo, right? Like that number 23 being connected to the Royal Star of the Lion, and all these things happening on the 23rd or surrounding the number 23. And then anything I said about the animals, I said animals equals 29, and that I kind of think the universe is putting all these weird stories in front of us about animals to remind us that we're treating the humans like animals. EU countries agreed to downgrade the protectionist status of the wolf. Canadian newcomers busted again illegally fishing Canada's rivers. A man killed a mountain lion. There's a story literally with a lion. He supposedly killed the mountain lion with a shovel. And there was a freaking autopsy done on the lion. You know, people, you know, so much attention on the Leo energy from stuff like this, and then other weird stories like shocked BC dog stolen in Yukon found safe in Arizona. You know, this was amid the Pisces season energy. And severe flooding in Thailand forces evacuation of elephant sanctuary. This was interesting given that it was the really close to this story. Indians celebrate elephant-headed Hindu god Ganesha, remover of obstacles, and this whole year is about obstacles. This was in a number 8 month and a number 8 year, so a lot of interesting overlap with everything that's happening. You know, with the word wisdom equaling 29, and that's what is connected to this elephant. And on that note, I mentioned earlier how Pierre Poilievre was kind of pandering. Well, here's some interesting new stuff. Also, Indian TV accuses Trudeau of being high all the time. And as I mentioned, I had shared this a long time ago, back in 2019. There was another journalist in the city, Ottawa Fro, who had put out this video where he zoomed into Trudeau's eyes, and I saw that and I was like, man, there's gotta be some gematria behind this, and I found it, and then also same number as what you see with Trudeau linking up with the word blackface scandal. Anyway, so interesting stuff with that, and what else may be worth talking about here? Let me say, I don't know if I mentioned before the previous person who was said to be another one of the quote-unquote architects of the Hamas attack. He was killed on a Tuesday, so again, watch out for Tuesdays. If you guys are, you know, interested in geopolitics and war, then, you know, almost anything that has to do with this stuff seems to happen more on Tuesdays. And here is September 24th, for example. Jordan's King Abdullah II issues stark warning on global security. Even if that's just like surface level and whatever, and then there's some other shit that might be the other direction. It's still interesting that it happened on a Tuesday. Okay, I think that about does it. You know, you got the Which Path to Persia stuff. That's Brookings Institution. You know, Brian Berletic, who I showed you a clip of before. He used to go by the name Tony Cartolucci, and he was talking about this Brookings Institution paper that was talking about the West pushing Iran into a war. And so, you know, just keep that in your mind whenever you wonder, is Iran being patient or not? So a lot of things happening, a lot of things transforming, and I think, you know, going into number 9 year, you know, people should keep their eyes on this stuff. It's not showing any signs of getting better. The West likes to shit all over Russia, but like if you look at like if you just go to the Russia section of my brain database here, it is a really good example. I'm just going to conclude with this. So this is Moscow. Or actually, let me. Okay, let's pick this one here. Let's go with this one. So pick one: the Moscow Metro subway in Russia, or the New York City subway in America. Let's watch a little bit. I don't know if I'll play all of this. We'll see. Looks pretty nice. Like it almost looks like a museum in some parts. The engravings on the side of this shit, like it's some fancy shit. Futuristic. That's some futuristic shit. Okay, so that was some fancy futuristic shit. And now let's look at the New York. Let's go over to New York here, like so. Now let's watch this. I don't. This was. Who knows if it's one of these videos that makes me wonder if it's AI, but I would not be surprised either way. That's the sad part. Let me make this bigger. Hold on. Let's, Let's make that bigger so you can see everything. All of it. What the fuck, dude? Alright. Anyway. So I'm gonna... Yeah, who knows if that is AI or not, but to the fact that you just want to question it is enough. So, you know, man, it's not a good look for the U.S. I mean, even last year I showed a video of there's certain parts of the New York sidewalk that you just put your foot there and it just crumbles and it falls, and like some rubble falls like a story or two down, and then the guy stuck his camera in there and it's like, so you guys could go look at the Universal Year 7 section of the Brain Database for that. But anyway, that is what I got here. So much proof of the Universal Year, Universal Month 9 this month. The same extent to which the previous month was very much about borders and boundaries and limits and rules and everything like that. Now is that number 9 month, and so you know, I guess it's worthwhile to look at before we finish off here, to look at the number 9 attributes via Numerologist Pro, right? They'll give you the positive and negative keywords of this number very nicely here, and that's this number, and this is the tone of this month and will be the tone of the next year. Is very masculine consciousness, straightforward and to the point, focused, strong will, and humanitarian. And on the negative side, it's angry, fanatic, choleric, short-fused, sudden action with no warning, overly competitive, dictatorial, my way or the highway, and the end justifies the means. So these are things to keep in mind, you know, especially since Lilith is so much in the mix with the charts of Netanyahu, and I believe it may have been an interesting spot during the Hamas attack. I can't remember. Let me see if I can pull it up fast enough. Natal chart of Hamas attack, and you got this true Lilith in Leo. So yeah, that was also at a Aries degree, the 25th degree. So there's I don't have that time and energy to get into this right now, but I probably touched on it in the past. But you know, like I said, the lunar eclipses are so heavily tied with the rhythm of everything that's happening, and even the full moons and empty moons, and you can see that. But this was close to a lunar eclipse, right? And Lilith is a component of the moon's orbit. So there you have that. Yeah, it's just trippy that the guy himself was born on the 29th. Very interesting, right? Given that the word Hamas attack has a value of 29 in the Chaldean cipher. Good old Chaldean numerology. So yeah, keep an eye out for this month, continuing to be aggressive and assertive and warlike, and try to, you know, I would say for most people the best thing to do is to try to use, hold on, why is that? I like that, there we go. What the fuck? Okay, whatever, I'll try to fix that later. Fucking hell. Okay, I'll just leave that the way it is for now. So anyway, this month, like I said, is a preview of the kind of energies we faced before in January 2024, in November 2023, and is probably going to be giving you a glimpse of what 2025 will be like this October month. And again, if you look at the October 2023, that was a number 8 month, and that kind of having the Hamas attack happen on that month kind of synced up with 2024 being a number 8 year, and this particular month giving you a preview of 2024. So that's why initially around the Hamas attack I knew this was going to be going on for a while. But you don't need numerology and astrology and all that to tell you that. A lot of observers knew that right off the bat. But it helps to have the numerology. It really helps. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. And if you do want to support this work and see more videos like this, then go to potentnews.com and click the donate button at the top, which will bring you to the PayPal donation button there, or another option in addition to clicking that and donating any amount you want. You can also send me a message from the contact form asking to purchase a tarot reading or astrology reading for $90 an hour. So just let me know you want that, and let me know you sent the money to the PayPal, and then we will do that. So once we coordinate a time and pick a good time. So yeah, those are ways you can support this work. Thank you for putting up with this long video. It's been over 2 hours now, and you know, I really hope things calm down in the Middle East, but they're obviously not going to. And you know, keep an eye out for Tuesdays, and also try to know that, you know, I read you the positive and negative keywords of that energy for the number 9, but it's also worth looking at like the life path 9. I've pointed out many times before how that life path number is connected to the War Measures Act. That's literally about war. The Royal Assent of the Emergencies Act, which that War Measures Act turned into, that was also life path 9 date. In addition to the World Health Organization announcing the quote-unquote pandemic, that was at a life path 9 date. Klaus Schwab is the founder of the World Economic Forum. Maurice Strong is his mentor. They're both life path 9. Benjamin Netanyahu, life path 9. Ghislaine Maxwell, life path 9. And it doesn't have to be good or bad, or it doesn't have to be necessarily bad. Like, you got Million March for Children protests here. That was a transformative period, right? Spiritual war, parents standing up for their parental rights. That was a life path 9 date. So it can go either way. But yeah, I noticed the 29, also April 29th, 1929 is when Maurice Strong was born. So, and I believe even like we said, Yahya Sinwar was also born on the 29th, and I believe JFK was born also the 29th. So, you know, with all the stuff that's happening, I anticipate it calming down a bit for the 29 stuff for the aforementioned reasons, but it's also worth it to go check the brain database, and when you're at that 29 section, check out what Numerologist Pro got to say about it. And might as well show it to you here, because it's so much a part of everything that's been going on. Just burn these bullet points right here into your brain, especially with the 29th. This is a moon number, and moon rules Cancer, but the 29th degree is the last degree, and the 29th degree is a Leo degree, and what was I going to say about that? Hold on a sec. Let me hit this. Yeah, I forgot to put that light on. I guess it was so bright with the sunlight earlier. It was such a long ass video. Yeah, it's, you know, it being a Leo degree and all this attention on Leo in a variety of ways that I already showed you, I think it's like the universe's way of kind of emphasizing that Leo energy so people don't get too much in their head with the mad scientist energy of Aquarius, because Pluto's about to spend that 20 years in Aquarius, right? Where is that Aquarius? There. So, well, actually, I was going to put the mad scientist, but that was, that one's over here. There we go. So, in order to not be too much in the head, you know, Leo rules the heart, so that's why a lot of this energy is piercing through, regardless of what you want to think about Trump. You know, the word Trump equals 29, the word JD Vance equals 29. They both have a lot of Leo energy in their charts. So, and a quality of that Leo stuff is bravery, and people looking at the death of Yahya Sinwar, you saw the reaction in Yemen and in Jordan. They look at Yahya as a very brave man also. So there's so much going on. I'm going to do my best to try to keep up on all of it, but because it really does feel like numbers sort of define everything that's going on, or at least have archetypes that are connected to planets and patterns that you see coming up, right? Like the previous, when there was I said it before, but it's worth repeating. When there was Aaron Bushnell burning himself alive, that was in a number 1 universal month, and 1 is connected to the sun, which rules Leo, and Leo is fire. So you have literally fire there. You had another attempt at self-immolation by someone else in that same month. Okay, and recent immolation attempt before that, December 1st of the previous universal month 1. So there's no shortage of seeing proof that the numbers and the planetary stuff gives you a glimpse of the future. So if you do know that next year is a year about completion with that number 9, then understand that a lot of people who could not do the number 7 energy properly last year of getting right spiritually and stuff like that, and using their intuition or their art, maybe they were too escapist about it, or maybe they just weren't disciplined about it enough because Saturn got into Pisces around that time. So that's kind of depressing for a lot of that Pisces energy. So a lot of people who couldn't do that properly and get a good enough big picture view from that 7. 7 can be analytical. 7 is Neptune and Mercury. But Neptune rules Pisces, the last sign, and Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo, which are more about Mercury's more short term. So it is on one level about merging science with spirituality, and it can be excessively solitary, that number. Some people who were too hermit-like in 2023, maybe in 2024, they won't be able to enforce boundaries as much, or maybe if certain people who didn't get right spiritually in 2023, they'll be just crying on your shoulder in 2024. And then this number 8 attribute that's happening collectively to us, which is about getting right with reality on the ground, not so much getting right spiritually, but getting aligned with what's actually happening. It's like, how are you gonna be disciplined and ambitious and deal with the universal year 8 energies of dealing with hardship and stuff like that if you're not watching your boundaries? 8 is about boundaries. So now we still have this year to work that out. But when we get to that number 9 year, people will be less concerned about boundaries, just like the previous month now was a number 8 month and a number 8 year, and there was focus on boundaries then, but now there's focus on, okay, we've drawn the lines kind of thing, and now it's up to the Pluto energies and Mars energies of taking action. And if there's any psychic debris that hasn't been purged enough from the Pluto part, then people's psychological issues will come into play, and they might go to extremes. So that's basically what's happening. And in the background, as I said before, we're in a particularly thick part of the retrograde, so a lot of long-term actions are foggy. But what's not foggy is the power and control issues. That's a bit more clear-cut, and that will come in handy near the end of the year, even though Mars energies will throw a wrench in the gears, and people's conflict energies, they just won't be able to do it as right, and it'll be annoying, like it's already annoying for a variety of reasons. But yeah, the number 8 is exhausting. So, people should just take a look at this chart and know that what actions did they take in February, March, more so in February, and sort of extrapolate that out against the whole rest of the year. See what, in your own reflection, thinking about it, like how did that go, and when the road bumps happened, did they coincide with these darker parts here, these retrogrades? So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that, and yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.